do you want next?
Well, you know, I guess I gotta be like everybody else and thank Al Haymon. I can quit my job now, baby. 6 figures, baby. You feel me? I'm about to
Vigilante Williamson here with a very simple question. That is, did Al Haymon kill American boxing? The answer to that question is obviously no. But if I ask, did he kill Showtime boxing? Maybe, probably. Al Haymon and the PBC, of all their trappings, and I know a lot of people who are just racially focused, they hear a black voice, oh, you must love the PBC, your people, suck my dick. I am not a fan of Al Haymon. I think he helped ruin Deontay Wilder's career. Deontay Wilder could have been the biggest star on earth had he knocked out Anthony Joshua in 2018, but Al Haymon is just so smart. He's the biggest genius on earth, and he keeps his fighters from fighting. We're actually going to go through a few of his fighters a little bit later in the video and see how little they fight. But in general, before we even get there, I definitely think Al Haymon's management of the PBC has led to the end of Showtime boxing. Now, don't get me wrong, there are other factors. Showtime is a TV network. TV networks are struggling right now because of the streaming service era, and ironically enough, PBC could actually fail forward if they sign a deal with Amazon or somebody similar to that, because I definitely think streaming is the future, even though we're not quite there. We're in this weird transition period from TV to streaming, and that's as much of a factor as Al Haymon's push for his fighters to do nothing. But there's definitely an issue with how PBC has managed a lot of their fighters, and as a result, how inactive they have been, and how inactive something like Showtime Sports has been as far as their coverage of boxing, because there's not fights to cover. This may have happened anyway. I do want to say that. It may have happened anyway, but I definitely think Al Haymon's management has had an issue. So let's get into these boxers. I will say this, I don't know if everyone the entire time has been a PBC fighter. I wish I could see when they joined the PBC and when they didn't. But let's just start off with Brandon Figueroa, 24-1 featherweight. If you look at his last fight, he had a fight earlier this year, March 4th, and then he fought last year. Well, we're seeing the issue already, July 9th. Then he fought the year before that, 2021, November of 2021. He had 2 fights in 2021. Look at him being active. He also fought May 15th, and then last fighting in 2020. We're only going to go back through 2020. And I'll be fair, you know, obviously there's been a lot going on in the 2020s as far as, we'll just say, health issues, public health issues and public health situations. So that deserves its credit for why a lot of these guys have been inactive as well. But you see, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 fights over the past 3 years. Now we got our man, Gary Russell Jr., whose status shows inactive. Why? He fought once in 2022, January 2022. He fought once in 2020, and that's it. Last fight before that is 2019. He's been angry at being inactive a lot of time as well. It's not like it's been his decision to fight so little. So this guy has not been able to fight in a long time. And you know, everybody remember him fighting Lomachenko. That was 2014. So he's been completely inactive, you know, for years. His last 5 fights, you go back into 2019, 2018, 2017, once a year. Tony Harrison from Detroit. He fought Tim Tszyu, lost to Tim Tszyu earlier this year. He fought Sergio Garcia last year, again a once a year thing. Fought Brian Pereira. I'm sorry about mispronouncing your name, brother. That was in 2021. No fights in 2020. Fought Charlo at the end of 2019. That's it. Jeez, that was a year gap. Fought Charlo at the end of 2018 and fought him again in 2019. We're seeing a lot of 1 fight a year, maybe 2 fight a year guys. And I didn't pick the stars. I could have went with, I mean, I guess Tank has been a little bit more active. Obviously someone like Canelo, who hasn't been on the PBC that long, even though he's had some fights on the PBC. He did the one with Caleb Plant. We won't be going at him, but I could have picked bigger stars, but I just want to show what the average PBC fighter is doing. How about Cool Boy Steph, Stephen Fulton, big fight with Inoue, obviously that was big for this channel. Lost in dominating fashion, and Inoue dominated him July of 2023. And then you have to go back to 2022, last fight. Then he fought aforementioned Brandon Figueroa, November 2021. And then he fought again January 2021, so that's damn near a year gap, even though it was in the same year. Then he got one fight in 2020. Again, 5 fights, once a year, twice a year. That's it. Huge gaps in between fights. How about everyone's favorite pick to fight Canelo? David Benavidez, who will be fighting Demetrius Andrade in a few weeks, I guess 6 weeks from now. He fought Caleb Plant earlier in this year. He fought David Lemieux last year, May of last year. Kyron Davis, November of 2021. Had a second fight in 2021 with Ronald Ellis. And then you have, and I don't want to mess up this brother's name, Romer Alexis Anguille in 2020. So again, 5 fights through, even though he's got a fight coming. He's got another fight with Andrade coming up. And honestly, he's probably been the most active guy. Let's look at Andrade himself, his opponent. How inactive this guy's been. He fought Damon Nicholson January of this year. And then he didn't fight at all in 2022. Fought in November 2021, Jason Quigley. Then Liam Williams in April 2021. And then one fight in January of 2020, Luke Keeler. Obviously, 2020 is going to be the hardest one to get fights. But again, very inactive. No fights in 2022 at all. So a lot of their fighters have been completely inactive. And I just picked a few names. You know, I guess I could have went more random, could have went more specific, more star power. But these just are a few names. This is what the PBC does. They hoard fighters and they make big contracts with these TV networks, and they don't really deliver. Yes, the PBC has delivered some big fights. We obviously got Crawford and Spence, but we didn't get it while they were in their primes. We did get, I guess technically, they're in their primes for Tank and Ryan Garcia. That was a big fight. So yeah, I definitely think the inactivity is a huge issue and a huge reason why Showtime isn't going to be back anymore. And I don't know if this is going to be a good thing long term if they get another contract. I kind of rather see, and I'm not saying this because I dislike the PBC per se. I'm not a fan. I'm not a stan. But man, if you're not going to have fighters fight, I'd rather them be in other places. Don't get me wrong. They're not the only promotional company that does this shit. A lot of promotional companies honestly do this shit. Maybe it's just becoming the standard to fight twice a year for all the major fighters, and it's getting really annoying because they're less active and they make less fights. There's so much more posturing. But yeah, the PBC has a history of inactive fighters, a history of encouraging their fighters to be inactive, and it's affected Showtime. And it's affecting boxing as a whole because they're not the only company doing it. It's kind of post Mayweather, and obviously Mayweather's involved with the PBC. It's the post Mayweather effect. And again, like I said before, the current state of television is a huge reason why Showtime's not going to be doing boxing anymore. Who cares, right? Because the PBC is going to fall forward. They're going to get a big deal with Amazon. They're going to be just as inactive, but the fights they do have will be broadcast all over the world, or they'll get a big deal with DAZN and maybe make fights a little bit easier because DAZN has Matchroom and they have Golden Boy, and so they'll be the third promotion. So it could be a good thing if DAZN forces their hand and forces fights to happen, but we'll see. I mean, we've waited this whole year. Didn't get Andrew Ruiz, Deontay Wilder, just a whole year of posturing, nothing happened. I think that's a huge reason why the PBC and Showtime is in the position it's in. It's sad to see HBO and Showtime both out of the boxing game. Obviously HBO a few years ago, and now Showtime's out of it. It really does suck. ESPN is the only American broadcast company right now that has boxing, or that will have boxing. We'll see if Amazon actually does bite the bait of PBC. But what do you guys think? If you like the video, please like the video. If you're so obliged to share and subscribe, please do that. And even if you do none of these things, thank you for watching. Thank you for your time. Good night and God bless. I'll talk to you guys later. Peace.